The sun had already set when Josh revved up his rusty scooter, the glowing red Pizza Flame, logo on the back box barely visible in the dark. He had taken up this job just to make ends meet while attending college. A part-time delivery gig, nothing more. But that night, what started as a routine order would take a turn so surreal, so unforgettable. It would change how he looked at human connection forever. "Last one for the night," he muttered, eyeing the final receipt. "A mansion address. Big tip, maybe?" He smiled tiredly and punched the location into his phone. 10 minutes later, he was gliding down a quiet, upscale neighborhood with massive oak trees lining the street like old, silent guardians. He stopped in front of an extravagant house, easily 3 stories tall, with tall hedges, glowing lanterns, and a sleek black gate that slowly creaked open as he approached. Josh adjusted his uniform, grabbed the pizza box, and headed up the marble steps. He rang the doorbell. The chime echoed like something out of a movie. A few seconds passed. Then the door opened. There she was. Tall, elegant, blonde hair cascading over her shoulders like a waterfall of silk. Her robe, no, not a robe. A sheer, almost see-through wrap, barely clung to her skin. Josh's breath caught. She was stunning in a way that made time slow down. She leaned on the doorframe, eyes playful. "Took you long enough," she teased with a smile. Josh blinked, almost forgetting to speak. Sorry, traffic was weird. Here's your pizza." She stepped aside, beckoning him inside. "Bring it in. I don't like eating cold." Josh hesitated for a second. Normally, he never entered customers' homes, but she wasn't just any customer. Something about her tone made it feel like this was more than pizza. He stepped inside. The place smelled of jasmine and warm vanilla. Soft jazz played in the background. Her heels clicked against the floor as she walked toward the living room. "Just set it down over there." She gestured to a marble coffee table. Josh followed, placing the box down and turning to leave when her voice stopped him. "Do you know the house rule?" she asked, walking toward him slowly. He frowned, confused. "House rule?" She smirked, standing just inches from him now. "One rule. No clothes." Josh blinked. Surely she was joking. She wasn't laughing. He stared, unsure of how to react. Every rational thought screamed to leave, but something in her gaze, an odd mix of daring and sadness, made him stay rooted. "You can relax," she said, stepping back. "You're not in trouble. I'm just tired of masks. Tired of pretending. You want the story? I'll tell you, but not with walls between us." Josh stood in stunned silence. She picked up a wine glass, poured herself a drink, and sank into the velvet sofa. "I didn't invite you in to seduce you, if that's what you're thinking," she said flatly. "I invited you in because tonight, I couldn't bear to be alone. And I hate small talk." He slowly sat on the edge of a chair across from her, heart pounding. "You live here alone?" "Yes. Since the divorce," she said, not even flinching. "The house used to be filled with laughter. My husband, stepkids, wine nights. Now it's all echoes. So I made a rule. If anyone walks in, they must leave behind everything fake. Clothes, lies, facades." Josh nodded slowly, the shock fading into empathy. "I didn't expect this. I was just delivering dinner." She looked at him carefully. "What's your name?" "Josh." "Josh, do you ever feel like the world has you in a costume?" He paused. "Every single day." She smiled softly. "Then maybe we understand each other more than you think." Silence fell between them, an oddly comforting one. Josh looked around. "You've got a beautiful home." "A beautiful prison," she replied. The word struck him. She wasn't teasing. She wasn't trying to seduce. She was aching for something real. "Can I ask you something personal?" he ventured. She nodded. "Why make that the rule? Why no clothes?" Her gaze drifted to the crackling fireplace. "Because it strips away everything that hides us. It's not about sex. It's about honesty. Vulnerability. It's about being seen." Josh swallowed, his thoughts racing. She was lonely. Not desperate, not broken, just lonely in a world full of masks. She took another sip of wine. "You can go if you want. I won't stop you. But if you stay, the rule applies. Not to embarrass you. Just so we can be two people, not two roles." Josh stood up slowly. His hand trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. She watched him, eyes unreadable. No pressure. Just truth. He looked around the room one more time, the elegance, the emptiness, the lingering scent of jasmine, and took a deep breath. Then he reached for the edge of his collar. // End of part 1. Awaiting your instruction to begin part 2. Josh didn't rush. As he unbuttoned his uniform shirt, each pop of the button felt like peeling away a layer of performance, like shedding the tired part-time worker persona and exposing something much more vulnerable underneath. He wasn't doing this to impress her. He didn't know why he was doing it, not fully. But in that moment, it didn't feel sexual. It felt human. The woman didn't leer, didn't giggle. She simply watched him with that same soft sadness in her eyes, nodding once in approval. "Now you're real," she said gently, her voice no louder than the fire's crackle. He sat back down, now only in his undershirt and shorts. "So what now?" She leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "Now you talk. I've done enough of that. Tell me who Josh really is. Not the pizza boy. The boy beneath the name tag." Josh took a breath. He rarely talked about himself, and definitely not to strangers. "I'm 23. Studying graphic design. My dad thinks it's a waste of time. My mom just wants me to find a safe job. So I deliver pizzas at night and design video game interfaces during the day." He gave a hollow laugh. "Sometimes I feel like I'm failing both versions of myself." She nodded. "That's honest." Josh looked at her. "What about you? You seem like you had it all. The house, the marriage, the life. What happened?" Her smile faltered, replaced with something raw. "We had money. We had things. But we didn't have truth." She stood up, walked to the fireplace, and tossed another log into the flames. "He said he loved me. And maybe he did, in the way people love comfort and beauty. But he never really saw me. He saw what I gave him. A perfect home, a polished wife for business parties, a clean life for his kids. But I was never me in this house. Not really." Josh's voice was soft. "That sounds lonely." "It is," she said. "And the loneliest part? The day he left, I realized I missed being invisible more than being noticed for the wrong reasons." Josh looked at her, his gaze steady. "Well, you're not invisible right now." For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she exhaled shakily. "Thank you." The room fell into silence again, but it wasn't heavy this time. It was peaceful. Honest. Josh got up, walked over to the pizza box, and opened it. "Want to share?" She chuckled softly. "Sure. One thing about heartbreak, it never kills your appetite." They sat cross-legged on the floor like two kids at a sleepover, munching on lukewarm slices and sipping wine. "You know what's weird?" Josh said between bites. "This may be the first time I've eaten pizza in a mansion while half-naked with a stranger." She laughed. "You're not half-naked. You're half-real." He smiled. "That's the best compliment I've gotten in months." They shared a long look. It wasn't lust. It was recognition. Later, as the wine mellowed their nerves, she reached for a small photo frame on the side table. "My stepdaughter," she said, handing it to him. "She used to call me her fairy godmother. Until her dad poisoned her against me." Josh studied the photo. A young girl with wild curls and a wide smile stood next to the woman. Then more vibrant, happier. "She looks like she adored you," he said. She did. "Kids can see you in ways adults forget how to." She saw the magic in me. Now she won't even speak to me. Her voice trembled at the edges. Josh handed the photo back. "Maybe one day she'll remember." Kids grow. They question. They see things clearer. She gave him a look filled with both gratitude and grief. "Maybe. But it hurts to hope." The clock ticked past midnight. Rain began to drum gently against the windows. Josh looked toward the door. "I should probably." "Stay," she said suddenly. Not forceful. Just soft. "You don't have to do anything. Just stay. Just be." He hesitated. Everything inside him said this was crossing some line. But what line? No promises had been made. No illusions were being sold. It wasn't about love or sex or pity. It was about two souls in a quiet storm, needing shelter. Josh nodded. "Okay." She stood and extended her hand. He took it, and she led him to a side room. Not a bedroom, but a small lounge with warm lights and bookshelves. She pulled a blanket from a nearby basket and laid it across the sofa. "You can rest here. No expectations. Just peace." He sat down slowly, soaking in the moment. "Thank you." She knelt down beside him. "You have no idea how much this meant to me." Their eyes met again. But before anything else could be said or done, a soft buzz echoed from the hallway. Her head turned sharply. "Someone's at the gate." Josh sat upright. "You expecting anyone?" She shook her head slowly. Another buzz. Louder this time. Her expression changed. Concern. Maybe even fear. Josh stood up. "Want me to check it out?" She nodded, her voice almost a whisper. "Please." Josh walked toward the hall, heart racing. Who could be visiting a house with one rule at this hour? End of part 2. Awaiting your instruction to begin part 3. Josh reached the front hallway, his footsteps cautious, the buzz from the gate still echoing in his ears. A small monitor screen flickered beside the door. He glanced at it and frowned. A man stood on the other side of the gate, dressed sharply in a suit, umbrella tucked under one arm. Mid-40s. Stern face. Eyes like stone. He pressed the intercom. Is Ava home? Tell her it's Charles. Josh turned to her. She was already behind him, clutching the doorway. Her face had gone pale. That's him, isn't it? Josh asked quietly. She nodded. My ex. He's not supposed to be here. He doesn't come here anymore. Not since the lawyers. Josh stepped aside. You want me to handle it? She exhaled, then nodded. Tell him I'm not accepting his surprise visits. Josh pressed the intercom. Ava's not receiving visitors. Please leave. Charles's face twisted. Who the hell are you? Josh didn't blink. Someone who sees her and respects her boundaries. Charles's jaw clenched, but he said nothing more. He turned and walked away, vanishing into the night. Josh turned to Ava. She stood silently, staring at the screen even after Charles had gone. He always did that, she whispered. Show up when I was finally starting to breathe again. Josh reached out, took her hand gently. He doesn't get to take that breath away anymore. She looked at him, eyes shining, not with sadness this time, but with something gentler. Relief. Closure. They walked back into the lounge. The tension drained from her shoulders as she collapsed onto the couch. I think tonight, I finally let go, she said. Josh sat beside her. You did. And I think you helped me let go of something too. She tilted her head. What's that? The idea that I have to be someone else just to be enough. Ava smiled. You've always been enough. You just needed a mirror to show it. They sat in silence, not needing to say more. The fire crackled, the rain slowed, and the mansion felt, finally, like a home. Before Josh left, she walked him to the door. She didn't kiss him. She didn't promise anything. But she held his hand for one long moment. Thank you for seeing me, she said. Not judging. Not asking. Just being real. Josh nodded. Thank you for giving me a space to be human. As he stepped back onto the porch, the sun had begun to rise. He turned to her one last time. No more masks, he said. She nodded. No more walls. And with that, he drove away. Not the same boy who had come delivering pizza, but a man who had shared something sacred. Honesty in its rawest form. Moral of the story asterisk. In a world full of noise, roles, and expectations, sometimes the greatest gift we can offer someone is the courage to take off the mask and simply be. True connection doesn't need perfection, it needs presence. Sometimes the people we least expect, in the most unlikely places, remind us who we really are. End of part 3. Complete story finished with closure and moral.